There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim.
The Genesis 6 narrative states that the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join me as we go on the trail of the Nephilim.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains, I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Welcome to another episode of On the Trail, and we'll get into that, but first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Hey folks, investing feels overwhelming right now, doesn't it? So complicated, so many decisions, but leaving your money in the bank might not be the best thing to do. It's losing value every single day. All we need to do is look at the inflation index to see the reality of that. So if it's stressing you out and driving you nuts, why not invest smarter with Noble Gold Investments? Precious metals are simple and real. There isn't a company on the stock market that was around 2,000 years ago, but guess what? Gold was. It's always been there through wars, disasters, and turmoil. Reliable, dependable, and authentic. That's why you can't go wrong with precious metals. They've always had your back. Noble Gold Investments America-based experts will show you how to set and forget your IRA or 401k. You'll get a dedicated professional assigned to you. No hassle, no call centers. This month, Noble Gold Investments is giving a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin with every qualifying IRA investment. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to claim your gold coin. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Folks, we invested a couple of years ago, and I got to tell you, I am really glad that we did. Gold is going through the roof. Once again, that's noblegoldinvestments.com. All right, this is really interesting. I've heard this before, not only in Tennessee, but also in Ohio. And what I'm talking about is this goes way, way, way back into the latter part of the 19th century or even mid-19th century, and even before that. White settlers coming into an area would find mounds, and sometimes near the mounds there'd be burial grounds, and in those burial grounds would be both giants and little people, and I mean little people, really small, like less than 3 feet in height. And we've heard about this over and over and over again. This was sent to me by a Cherokee elder, and he is attempting to find out maybe what happened to the skeletons. So we'll get into that. In White County, state of Tennessee, near the town of Sparta, there have been discovered 3 burying grounds where very small people are deposited in tombs, coffins of stone. Let's stop right there. So that in itself is incredible. The question is, are these coffins of stone, are they still in existence? Somebody's got to have them somewhere. Hopefully they weren't trotted off to some museum someplace, otherwise they're long gone. But you never know what First Nation people might be handing down. Let's continue. The greatest length of the skeletons is 19 inches. Some of these people appear to have lived to a great age, their teeth being worn smooth and short, while others are full and long. Many of the tombs have been opened and the skeletons examined. The graves are about 2 feet deep. The coffins are of stone, made by laying a flat stone at the bottom, one at each side and one at each end, and one over the corpse. The dead are all buried with their heads facing east, in an order, laid on their backs and their hands on their breasts. In the bend of the left arm is found a mug that would hold nearly a pint, made of ground stone of shell of a gray color, in which is found 1, 2, or 3 shells, supposed to be seashells. One of these skeletons had about the neck 94 pearl beads, obviously someone of great importance. There are many of these burying grounds. Near the one which I examined is the appearance of an ancient town. The bones found on these graves are strong and well set. The whole frame appears to be well formed. These graveyards are in extent from half an acre to an acre and a half, in the same neighborhood as a burying ground where the dead are buried in the same manner as above described, and where the skeletons are from 7 to 9 feet long. We're not making this stuff up. This is from Zion's Herald. It is 1828. So it's way back in the 19th century. And when you present this to modern day archaeologists, they will just say, oh, these people were just trying to sell papers. Really? We get this explosion of reports like this from the 1800s into the early 19th century, where the graves are being opened, white settlers are coming in. And look, I'm not saying that we should be desecrating graves. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not for that. All right. But then let me just digress for a second, and I digress. Zawi Hawass has this huge deal where we're in Saqqara and they find this tomb and they go down. Well, Zawi Hawass is just nothing more than a glorified grave robber. He gets to open up the tombs and look at the artifacts and take the mummies out and do all the scientific research on it. And that's not grave robbing? Of course it's grave robbing. But see, if we do that over here, oh, you're nothing more than a grave robber. And that's how the powers that be, paint Ralph Glidden. There's a hit piece that we saw. It's in my book. You've got to use a magnifying glass to enlarge it, but there it is. It basically says that Ralph Glidden is nothing more than a modern day grave robber. Well, that's 1919 and 1921 when Ralph Glidden was employed by the Hay Museum. Is he really a grave robber? How come Ralph Glidden is called a grave robber? And this was done, I don't know, pre-COVID, probably 2017, 2018, when Richard Shaw and I, the producer and director of the Watcher series, I was the host and the co-producer, we went over to Catalina. And let me just show you the picture real quick, because, the picture will say a lot more, and it'll happen really quickly. So you can see this. Here's Richard Shaw, the late Richard Shaw, my former business partner, and we did 11 films on this. You can go to Best of Watchers and watch this, Return to Catalina. And you can see that's a hit piece in the Catalina Island Museum, the old museum, and you can see that they've cropped the giant out of the picture. So here's what I'm getting at. We know that there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world. And people like me, they always go for the ad hominem attacks. Oh, he's not a real archaeologist. Oh, this is pseudo-archaeology. How is it pseudo-archaeology when I'm in the archives for hours and I discover that picture of Ralph Glidden leaning on a shovel and in front of him is a skeleton in situ, which is 9 feet long. And we know from the article from 1828, this is what people found as they pushed from the East Coast into the Midwest and finally the West. They're everywhere. And we know that the skeletons of 9-footers are also found, or found with the skeletons of 9-footers, are the little guys. The same thing happened in Ohio. I've been to the site. Now, those graves are no longer in existence. They were robbed and plundered and opened up, over 100 years ago, for crying out loud. More than that, more like 150, even further back. But we know they existed, because we've got the same type of reporting. Why is it that we're not being told the truth? And I'll answer that. Because it points back to the veracity and the validity of the Native American First Nation oral tradition, which talks about the red-haired, six-fingered, cannibalistic giants that were all over the Americas, number one. Number two, what it does is it points back to the veracity of the biblical prophetic narrative. There were giants. These are the Nephilim. Think of Fritz Zimmerman's book, The Nephilim Chronicles, Fallen Angels in the Ohio Valley. Folks, that book absolutely changed my life. There's no doubt about it. That's why we are on the trail today. Thanks so much for watching. By the way, these mugs sold out really quick. And there you go. Rebuke first, ask questions later. We're doing all the little sayings that I've come up with thanks to the Holy Spirit over the years. This one sold out in less than 24 hours. We've ordered more. Be patient. And once we get them up again, we'll let you know, along with some other sayings. So they're really nice mugs. They're well made, and I love the coloring on them. Rebuke first, ask questions later. I will be this week in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Hope to see you there. Mondo Gonzalez, Pete Garcia, Lee Brainerd, and myself. I'll be speaking 2 times, once on Friday, once on Saturday. Go to my website, lamarzulli.net. Scroll down, speaking. It's right there. Open up that link, scroll down a little further, buy tickets. You need to get tickets for this. I hope to see you there. We'll have all of our books, all of our DVDs. There are now 28 films in our catalog, plus 13 and a half books. And that half is more like 5/8 now. I'm closing in on finishing the rungs on the ladder of disclosure. And more on that in the near future. There will be a pre-sale, by the way, for 9 and 10, What is the Truth?, which wraps up our 10-part UFO film series. And that'll be coming up probably this Friday. We'll release that, and you'll be able to do a pre-order and save some money. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, folks, there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of a Nephilim. Hey folks, I have a special announcement. We just opened up a new website. It's called RoswellRevisited.com. RoswellRevisited.com. I want to thank Chauncey Green for getting that set up for it. Please go there and check it out. We've got a deal for you. We really do. Both of these incredible DVDs. This is real investigative journalism. RoswellRevisited.com. Go check it out now. And we've got a special deal for both of these 2 DVDs, and I think you'll find it interesting. By the way, when you guys buy the DVDs from us or watch on our streaming station, you help keep the lights on here and keep us moving the ball further down the court. UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. RoswellRevisited.com, RoswellRevisited.com. And before I go, I want to give a shout out to Gil Zimmerman, because Gil and I worked on this film, and I think it's the best 2 films we've ever created in our entire time together and in the entire UFO film series. 9 and 10 will be coming out very shortly. More about that soon. Meantime, RoswellRevisited.com. Thanks so much.